You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here for the next 2 hours on your 24/7 home of the black and gold as we hit that Wednesday day. Say that 5 times fast. We hit the Wednesday day where we start to turn the page a little bit, do some more global stuff. Our weekly pick-a-player conversation that has become one of my new favorite segments. Plenty for us to get into and to dabble with today. But I wanted to start with, I think, some pretty cool news for you.
Okay, cool.
And that is that former Steelers defensive lineman, the great L.C. Greenwood, has been named one of 9 semifinalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026 in the seniors category.
Okay, yeah.
He was a 10th-round pick of the Steelers in the 1969 NFL Draft out of Arkansas AM&N. 13 seasons for the Steelers, obviously a huge part of the Steel Curtain, and 4 Super Bowl championships, playing alongside Mean Joe, Dwight White, and Ernie Holmes. And, you know, I know stats were a little different back then.
Yeah. Sacks weren't even a thing, right.
Exactly right. But he did, even with that being said, Matt, he still finished his career with 73.5 sacks, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, back when that really meant something.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Member of the Steelers' all-time team. NFL 1970s all-decade team. Was, of course, part of that inaugural Steelers Hall of Honor class, that massive one in 2017 when they unveiled the Hall of Honor. Matt, pretty cool. One of the things, you and I have talked about this before, like when you talk to the Bob Labriolas of the world.
Yeah.
They will always tell you, after Mean Joe Green, it's Franco Harris, right? Like that's one of those that you ask the people that have been around for the history of this organization and have really, devoted themselves to it. That's one of the popular questions is like, who's on that Mount Rushmore? And they're always like, Mean Joe first, Franco second. Another thing that if you ask, people like Labs, who is the number one most deserving Steeler who's not in the Hall of Fame that should be? Always L.C. Greenwood.
Yeah, it comes up a lot. And, I've had these conversations, my uncle, my dad, people kind of taught me football way back when, or, as a fan. And I'm older than you, obviously, so I was alive, when these things were happening, but barely. I've said before, like the first football game that I remember and really understanding to some degree what was going on was the Steelers win over the Rams in the Super Bowl, the 4th Super Bowl. Watching every play and being... Like
I told you, mine's the Super Bowl 30 against the Cowboys that the Steelers lost.
So I understand the lore of LC and, how important he was in that era to some degree. But like if you ask my dad or, certainly Labs would be the best person to talk to about it.
We can ask him tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess we definitely should. That LC was not as important as anyone on that team because, there were bigger stars than him.
My goodness.
Ham, Lambert, Blunt. To me, there were easy Hall of Famers. Green, of course. But he's right there behind that group of no-brainer Hall of Famers. So frankly, this to me is exactly what the Veterans Committee is for.
Completely agree.
Yeah, that's why it exists.
To appear in this seniors category now, you could have last appeared in a professional football game in the year 2000. So it's a 25-year.
Yeah.
And it's obviously been longer for LC and some of these other guys. Started, Matt, here's the kind of exciting, encouraging part. Started with 182 nominees. Now it's down to 9.
Right.
So he has really made it to the, from nearly 200 names, from nearly 200 names to a single-digit list.
It amazes me that they start with 200 names.
182. That's nuts.
I think Gary Anderson was on that list.
I can tell you. I'll tell you here in a minute all of the
I'm also
the
curious who the finalists are.
So 9 people. The Seniors Blue Ribbon Committee, which, funny enough, is a 9-person committee as well. They will meet November 25th. That's next week and vote to narrow this down to 3. So it will go from 9 to 3.
Okay. I didn't know how things got whittled down for this one.
Neither did I, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk through it with you here as well. Just as well, TV. Those names, as well as the finalists, coach and contributor categories, will be unveiled in early December.
Okay. So I think they're even different voters.
I believe that's what it sounds like, a separate committee.
I'm hoping these are older human beings that do this vote.
I would think so.
Yeah, right. You know
Shouldn't be a bunch of people who look like me. Man.
Right. I said. I mean, yeah, you can read like anybody else and watch their resumes or go to YouTube or whatever, but at least to have been around in that era, I think goes a long way.
Here's the other 8 names that will be battling with LC Greenwood for Canton immortality. Ken Anderson. We actually talked about him last week.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
Real quick
for
on
the
Ken
Bengals.
Anderson. He was, so people don't know, the West Coast offense started with Ken Anderson when Bill Walsh was the offense coordinator with the Bengals.
And then he goes to the West Coast.
It's
and
really the Ohio River offense. I mean, and he executed it extremely well before anyone knew who Montana was.
It's like we talked about Chip Kelly a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
People always talked about that crazy style of spread offense that he kind of created at Oregon. It actually happened at New Hampshire, when he was like a D2 school doing that before Oregon hired him to come across the country.
Then people figured it out and were exposed to it.
Like Mike Leach gets a ton of credit for air raid stuff. It was actually Hal Mummy at BYU, how all that stuff works. Yeah.
Nobody created other stuff out of thin air too, but Walsh was extremely, extremely innovative and was considered the forerunner to become the Bengals head coach. They made the wrong choice. Got someone else. He goes the Niners.
That's a theme for that organization.
Yeah, a little bit. And so I think Anderson might even have a stronger case than LC. I mean, LC has 4 rings.
What really helps Ken Anderson is he was the league MVP in 1981. LC has the 4 rings, the ultimate team success, but Ken Anderson, the ultimate individual award, 1981 MVP. Finished his career, Matt, with nearly 33,000 passing yards and 197 touchdowns.
That's the thing and people didn't throw the ball. I mean, that'd be great for now,
He was kind of like Marino before Marino.
Right. And it was a lot of short, controlled stuff. Like, if you look at, I remember getting, you're too young for this, but, you get a 1979 passing leaders card, and there'd be one from the AFC and one from the NFC, and it was Ken Anderson a lot. 1975, I'm guessing, maybe 76-ish to 82 or 83, he was always amongst the top passing leaders because nobody knew how to understand the short, controlled, I don't want to get too much into football history, nor am I the best historian for it, but what Walsh really did...
Dork out here for a minute, Matt. Come on. The people love this stuff.
And this, to me, is unbelievably innovative, is Walsh married the drop, your footwork, with the exact timing down to the 10th of the second to the route.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's really the beauty of the
and bang. And
right.
Yeah.
This is a 3-step drop. This is a 5-step drop, 2.6 seconds. So I'm going to marry my route combinations.
And you're going to throw that thing 6 inches in front of Jerry Rice's numbers.
Right.
And he's going to hit it in stride and
when
make
that
3
back
defensive
foot
backs
hits,
miss.
Right. And defenses didn't know what to do with it. Right. And frankly, that's a big reason the zone blitz created, because you drop into those quick slants and things, to kind of get in the way,
What's the phrase that you've said to me a few times that's a classic, that necessity is the mother of invention is necessity?
Yeah, right.
So these quarterbacks and wide receivers are dicing us up like this. Let's come up with the zone blitz.
I mean, corners are ball's coming out before he's even coming out of his break. They've practiced this route 8,000 times, Montana to Rice, right. But it was Anderson was ahead of the game on that.
Speaking of Billy Walsh and those Niners teams and those offenses, Roger Craig, also one of
LC's gonna have some tough swimming here.
Nominees. He was the running back during that.
Was awesome
that
too.
Montana Rice era. First player to total 1,000 rushing yards and receiving yards in the same season in the NFL. He walked so Christian McCaffrey could run.
Exactly.
3-time Super Bowl champion, 8 years in the league, over 1,300 yards from scrimmage, 73 touchdowns.
Again, ahead of his time. People remember NFL film stuff if you watch those Super Bowls, or real high knees. He's got a real deliberate style. So he stood out. On a really good team. But running backs weren't catching the ball much back then. I mean, think of the awesome running backs of the 70s. It's like O.J.,
Yeah.
Earl Campbell,
Classic.
Franco. I mean, they're phenomenal players, but they don't have that many catches. That was kind of a Bill Walsh thing, too, was easy throws to running backs against linebackers that can't cover anyone back then, you know? And Craig also has the rings. Like, Craig kind of has the innovative.
Yep.
I'm thinking just Hall of Fame case, trying to be as impartial as possible. Craig has some of the innovative, ahead of his time Anderson stuff, and he has LC's rings.
And he's got the rings.
Right.
Those are two very viable Now, remember, it goes from 9 to 3, so it's not like they're just picking one of these guys. But yeah. Henry Ellard, wide receiver in the
Rams,
80s and 90s. Let's see here. 814 receptions, 13,700 yards, 65 touchdowns. His yardage as a wide receiver still ranks 15th in league history. Surpassed 1,000-yard receiving seasons 7 times in his career. Led the league in receiving in 1988. Solid resume.
Really strong. Yeah, the resume is better than I thought. I was going to kind of brush it off. But, I mean, to still be 13th in all-time receiving yards when the game has changed so drastically.
That, to me, is impressive. 15th, but still.
15th,
that's to be top 15 still when you played in the 80s and 90s.
And back then, I mean, there would only be – and they played fewer games, 16 at that point, but there was only, I'm guessing, 5 to 7,000-yard receivers a year. And if he did it that many times, you know.
It's impressive.
Yeah. He would still be fourth that we've mentioned so far.
This is an impressive group so far.
It is, yeah. Because I'll be honest, sometimes these veteran committee guys, it's like, this guy played center and nose tackle back in 1948.
It's like, what am I supposed to talk about here?
Okay. I mean, I respect it, but what are we doing here? Which
Matt,
maybe I'm just getting old if I remember these dudes' entire career.
A little bit of both. Matt, I know Halloween was a couple weeks ago, but put your hog nose on because Joe Jacoby is up next.
Another good one.
13-year career, all with the team formerly labeled as the Redskins, now called the Commanders. 3 Super Bowls as part of that hog unit. 2-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler.
Played with Russ Grimm. You know, Bostic was the center. They were the best.
Schlereth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I guess he was on that last Super Bowl team. Schlereth wasn't he?
Schlereth was on Denver late. Well, he played Washington at the end.
He won 1 with the Hogs and then 2 with Elway.
I think he's noticeably older than these guys. This is like early 80s. Mark May was the other tackle, and Russ Grimm. These guys, like, Jacoby probably came in the league in like 1980-ish, something like that.
Gotcha.
Powerful, nasty. He'd be outside. I mean, he'd be at the bottom of this list for me, but he's still I think you said several Pro Bowls and,
4 Pro Bowls, 2 first-team All-Pros.
Yeah.
3 Super Bowl rings.
And
pretty nice career.
Think through it, like Munoz and Jackie Slater,
sure.
like they're the tackles that you got to beat out for Pro Bowls and All Pros.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Let's go to a cornerback here, Eddie Meter.
I don't know him.
Is that how he pronounces his last name? I believe it is. From the Rams, he played in the 50s and 60s, so that's probably why you and I aren't incredibly familiar. But 2-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 1960s NFL All-Decade Team, finished his career with 46 interceptions, still a Rams franchise record.
I don't have much to comment on it, but I do think All-Decade Team carries a lot of weight.
I was just going to say that with LC, too.
Yeah.
I think that carries a lot of weight.
But one thing I don't like about the All-Decade Team is if you were drafted in 1985 and you played till 1995, you're not making an All-Decade Team unless you're like Lawrence Taylor. Right.
You have 5 straight years of an All-Pro.
Right.
Stanley Morgan, wide receiver, is also a finalist from 77 to 1990. Posted
Patriots, yeah.
the most yards per reception in NFL history among players with more than 500 career receptions.
He was deep threat.
19.2.
Yeah.
4-time Pro Bowler as a New England Patriot. Still the Patriots' all-time leader in receiving yards. Did play once. That's impressive. Did play.
I would have guessed it's Gronk.
Seriously.
Yeah, right.
Or even Edelman or Welker.
Yeah, right. Just how much we throw.
Did play his final season in the NFL with the Colts.
Okay. He was deep threat, scary guy. I mean, those teams weren't great. That was like Steve Grogan was the quarterback in the 80s, and John Hanna was like their only good player,
2 more here, Matt, and one of them, this next one, is a name who, it's funny, I feel like every time we've talked about special teams and these type of awards, this guy's name comes up. Steve Tasker is one of the
He qualifies
semifinalists
now?
as well, too. Special teams and wide receiver, 85 to 97, 7 Pro Bowls. Of course, special teams phenom for the Bills, and those Bills teams that went to and lost 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s. Spot contributor at wide receiver, but best known for kick and punt coverage on special teams.
I mean, you can't tell me. I know. You can't tell me that he was important to the Bills' 4 Super Bowl runs as LC was to the Steelers' 4 Super Bowl runs.
Any of these guys.
But this might be his opportunity because there was a lot of buzz when he was up for real. You know, what do you do with Tasker? What do you do with Hester or these guys? And a guy like Hester, to me, has a lot more weight than Tasker. I mean, he at least touched the ball.
He scored touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, like, literally changed games for the Bears.
People wouldn't punt to him. They just punt out of bounds.
It's like Barry Bonds. Just walk this guy with the bases loaded. Who cares?
So even if you're the best gunner ever, that's why I think they should almost have their own wing, you know? Every 3 years, a special teamer goes.
Listen, if there's only one kicker and one punter, or one punter and no kickers in the Hall of Fame, I got a hard time
I think
putting.
There's 2 kickers. I know Jan Stenerud from the '70s.
Jan.
And I think Morton Anderson's in.
Okay.
Yeah, and Ray Guy is in.
Sounds right. So yeah, if you've got 3 kickers in total, I got a hard time putting in a gunner before.
But there's no long snapper. I mean, nor should there ever be.
Christian Kuntz is going to have something to say about that in a couple years. Last one, Matt. Otis Taylor, wide receiver for the Chiefs from 65 to 75, Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl 4 champion with the Chiefs, 2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, also won an AFL championship during his 10-year career, led the AFL in touchdowns in 67, led the NFL in receiving yards in 71.
A little before my time, I know the name, and I knew he was a dynamic player. A lot of AFL stuff in there, as you mentioned, you know, which I have respect for. But I bet the AFL was fun because they chucked the ball around lot more than
the
NFL did at that time. You know,
I think LC is amongst the top. He's definitely in the top half of these 9. He might be second or third in terms of most deserving.
Craig and Anderson are going to be hard to beat.
Craig and Anderson are tough to beat when you combine the MVPs and the Super Bowl rings. But I think LC has got about as good of case as most or more than those 9.
I think he'd make my final 3.
I think he would as well.
Yeah. Good for him.
We will know that early December as they will meet next week to narrow it down from 9 to 3. And then what will happen is all 20 finalists. So that includes the selection committee's annual 15 modern era players, 3 senior players, 1 coach, 1 contributor. Will be narrowed down to 20. And then from there, they will vote on the enshrinees for this Hall of Fame class of 2026.
That's when I think they actually sit in a room and they really make their case and they spend the whole day and battle it out. Yeah.
Correct. Of course, they will be announced at the NFL Honors Ceremony right before the Super Bowl in San Francisco in February, enshrined in August in Canton. Hopefully LC will finally get his much overdue credit.
He's got a good case.
And, yeah, he certainly does. And that would be pretty cool for his family if that were to happen. And again, we'll know at least if he made it as a finalist here in the next couple weeks before too much longer.
Let's definitely mention it at the labs.
I was going to say, remind us as well, too, to bring this up to labs because he's great with this stuff and he'll be able to really kind of put perspective on not only LC, but I think LC against those other 8 names.
Yeah, so I might bring up Ken Anderson to him, too, as a division guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's take a break here. When we come back on the other side, Matt, I got a little best of the West to tee up for you. Excited for this one. Tyler and I spent yeoman's hours putting this together. I worked harder on this than any homework assignment I had in high school, I tell you. Best of the West, top 10 running backs in the National Football League right now.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, this was very difficult.
I would say this is a tough one.
I think I got extra gray hairs here in the last couple hours trying to put it together. We'll discuss that. I'll let Matt critique on the other side when we return. As we roll along here on a Wednesday, it is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Time for a little Best of the West Wednesday here, Matt, and full transparency for you. We're going to talk top 10 running backs in the NFL right now, running back power rankings, okay? Just let me be honest with you for a minute. Here's how this all went down. I was in here this afternoon working on our weekly Beefy Around Campus packet.
Yeah, I see the packet here.
We'll get to that before too much longer as well. But I get that done. I get that all finished, printed off, made up for you and for TV. I actually took one to our buddy Tom Opferman today as well, too, because he had been kind of conversing with me about it.
I'll be doing a Wednesday night show with him any minute now.
Told Tom he had some homework, to get ready for this weekend because his Pitt Panthers, of course, are going to go down to Atlanta and take on Georgia Tech and Hayes King, who's been part of this conversation. So I finish up the Around Campus packet. And we've got probably, 45 minutes until showtime. I'm putting together a rough outline for the show like we always do. Nothing crazy because we do a little freeform jazz, but usually like to have at least, we're talking to this guest at this time. We know we got a couple topics here to hit on specifically. And I go, I didn't put together a Best of the West last night. It's usually something I do on a Tuesday night. My wife and I got into a little Netflix session last night, and I forgot. So I go, TV, I got to come up with a Best of the West here. I don't know what to do. I'm like, what should we do? I was like, all right.
It doesn't have to happen every week.
That's also true. And I was like, but you know what? I was like, what about best running backs in the NFL right now? Because we've done wide receivers, we've done quarterbacks throughout the year.
You're biting off a big project there, more than you think, maybe.
And I was like, let's do. I think TV was the one who was like, how about top 10 running backs? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. That'll be fun. That'll be easy. It was not easy.
No, it's not easy
at all. I went over this list 30 times. Like I said, I put more thought into this than any homework assignment I had in high school. I scratched names off and changed names around on my list a bunch of times. I really like number 1 on my list. Spoiler alert, Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
After that, it gets very difficult. But here's what I got for you.
I'm not even sure he's won.
Here's what put him over the top. He's averaging
it's insane, yeah.
6 yards per carry. That's a half yard more than anybody else. He has nearly 200 yards more rushing than the second-place guy in the NFL right now, James Cook.
He's had his bye, too.
He has had his bye.
Those cumulative stats, you got to pay attention to that.
He averages 114 yards per game on the ground. Nobody else in the league averages more than 96.
Mm-hmm.
He also has 15 touchdowns. If you take away Josh Jacobs, only Javonte Williams even has 8 on the ground. So
I know the touchdown stuff is remarkable.
I felt like I had to
He's
put
actually
Jonathan,
catching the ball a lot more this year, too, than he ever has.
Because that's a good point.
Yeah. He was kind of a one-dimensional runner only early in his career. There
was probably 5 names here that I considered for number 1. But when you look at just the pure, it's hard, I think, not to have Jonathan Taylor number 1.
I'm not going to fight you on it, but the other name that I would really struggle to is right there is Bijan Robinson. And a lot of it's just the eyeball test. I mean, he's a top 5-ish receiving back.
Mm-hmm. Number 2 after Christian McCaffrey in terms of reception production.
I bet. I mean, just in yards per route run, they're the only 2 that's above Warren, by the way. And just his highlights, though, and his ability to move and, his talent, and he's thriving his career. Not that Taylor isn't. Those are the 2 I'd have considered for 1.
So let's start. I know typically we work.
We can get 1 down.
Let's, because I think it is kind of better this way for this. I put Jahmyr Gibbs 2 and Bijan 3.
Okay.
But that was very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about that a lot. Bijan has more just production in terms of yardage this season, but Jahmyr Gibbs 5.2 yards per carry.
He's a rare mover too.
He's a rare mover. I feel like the last couple weeks he's played so well. Yeah. Even while the Lions have struggled, he's been kind of like the lone bright spot, which I think maybe gave a little. But I'll also admit he's in a much better situation than Bijan as well.
Bijan's situation's really crumbling, and he's been.
Those to me were the 3 names that were clearly the top 3. Like if you wanted to give them to me in any order, I wouldn't have a fuss about it. But I went Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, and I think those are like the 3 absolute elite tier 1 guys.
The thing, I mean, we're splitting hairs here because those guys are all awesome. Gibbs just isn't as big as physical as the other 2.
He's not.
He's
definitely not.
3rd and 1, or close out a game, like
Jerome in the 4th quarter.
Exactly. He's as more electric maybe than either, and open field and receiver and all those things. Not that those guys are lacking. I would go Bijan, Taylor, Gibbs.
Okay. I don't hate it.
But Taylor's having the best year.
His production is.
He's having the best year.
Yeah. Number 4, and then again, I said it. I said to TV. I think this might have been the hardest part was deciding 4, 5, 6 because I had 3 names in this next tier, but I went back and forth on how do you value this, how do you value that. But what it came down to at the end of the day was, I said this to TV as we were kind of discussing and arguing it back and forth. Who would I want for a game this weekend?
Yeah, I know who I'm picking here.
I put James Cook at 4.
Ooh, I would take McCaffrey.
I put McCaffrey at 5.
Okay.
So, and you know what's funny? You'll see this. I originally had McCaffrey at 4, and I switched him on
Really?
my list.
Yeah.
So the only thing that kind of held me back is I don't love McCaffrey's 3.7 yards per carry.
No, they don't run the ball very well.
But he's
that's not a great.
He's top 10 in receiving yards in the NFL, man.
I had to say the receiving stuff.
And he's 13th in rushing.
Yes.
So, I mean, he is by far the most productive when you combine. Bijan's close, but he is number one when you combine.
When you add it all up.
When you combine the receiving threat out of the backfield as well, too.
The reason I pick him
I just said as well, too. Dang it, I did.
The reason I'd pick him, too, is what's the Niners record? 7-3, something like that, whatever.
What would it be without him?
Right. He was the whole offense for a lot of the year. I mean, when Kittle was out and no one at receiver and no Purdy, Cook has a better surrounding, better O-line, the Allen factor. But you could argue Cook is having the second best season amongst all running backs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nearly 1,000 yards already, 5.3 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns. He's averaging 97 yards per game. It's impressive.
Yeah. Just signed a new contract, and that looks like a bargain already.
Impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So I had, again, I went back and forth. I scribbled them around on my list, but I put James Cook 4, McCaffrey 5, and then pretty clearly before we get to the next tier, which is difficult, I have A-Chain at number 6.
Okay. I have no problem with that. He produces every week. I mean,
3rd in the league in rushing yards right now.
Yes.
2nd best yards per carry in the league behind Jonathan Taylor.
He catches like 8 balls a game.
And
too.
he's productive out of the backfield.
I'd say the receiving stuff is really important to me here. For some reason, they used to think he was a goal line back.
Yeah.
And the Ollie Gordon thing has helped everybody. You brought him up yesterday.
Yep.
I don't know if he's on your list or not. I'm guessing he is. And he'd be a really tough guy to rank. But I think I'd put Barkley there.
That's the one that TV and I had the most difficulty with.
Because, I mean, a year ago, he's won. And
I
I don't know that
a year
he got,
ago, he's like won maybe in NFL history
Right.
the
Like,
season he had last year.
I don't think he got worse.
I don't either, but he's averaging just 3.8
great.
yards per
No, it's not
carry.
great.
He's 14th in the league in rushing, averaging just 66 yards per game, Saquon Barkley.
Like, the holes he ran through last year were obscene, too.
Ridiculous.
Right. Like, his yards before contact, I think he had 1,000 yards even before he was touched over the course of the year.
So this is the...
Did you put him next, did you say?
I had him at 11th.
Really?
I had him
Okay.
my first honorable mention because this is the power rankings, the Kansas City Chiefs conversation.
Yeah.
Are you giving them the past credit and benefit of the doubt, or are you just talking about this year?
See, I'm talking about now. Because, like, I don't know if Derrick Henry would make my 10.
He was number 9 for me.
Okay.
So not very high. But, Matt, he is 6th in the NFL in rushing, over 800 yards, 4.9 per carry, 7 touchdowns for Derrick Henry.
What's funny is I don't know the stats all that well.
I didn't until I sat down.
Yeah, right. And I also
That's why I was like, Jonathan Taylor's got to be number 1 if
Yeah.
you just look at it on paper.
But Saquon still passes the eyeball test. In a
He
big
does.
way,
And
He's
maybe
not jumping over people backwards.
I'm
this
probably
year, but,
arguing against my own logic because if I were doing this list of like who do I want on my team to win a game on Sunday,
That's what I mean. Like,
he'd be 6 or 7. He might even be 3 or 4 or 5.
right. Like, if you threw Saquon on the Steelers, would you be pretty happy about it? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I would.
Right. All right. Well, let's keep rolling down the list.
Number 7. And
Who
then
was 6? McCaffrey was 6.
A-Chain.
Oh, okay.
McCaffrey 5.
A-Chain's having a monster year.
Monster year. Number 7, another guy who's having a monster year. 4th in the league in rushing right now. 5 yards per carry. I went with Rico Dowdle at number 7.
Okay.
Matt, the only guys in this conversation that have not fumbled the ball yet this season. Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley, and Rico Dowdle.
See, that's where I'll fight you. Like, having an awesome year, he had a couple of huge games. He's just not better at the game than Saquon Barkley.
He's not.
You know what I mean?
But he's been better this year.
Oh, yeah. He's had a better season.
And that's why this is a difficult.
I know.
And like I said, this was the hardest by far that I've done this year.
And again, I'm not giving away Lifetime Achievement Awards if I were to build this list. If it was best of the Williamsons, I mean, I would It's how good they are at the game right now, not necessarily who's having the best year. Because he's definitely in the top 10 for having the best year.
Oh, yeah, he's 4th in the league in rushing right now.
But, like, if he was a Steeler, I think him and Warren are a 50-50 split. If Saquon's a Steeler, it's a 70-30 split. You know what I mean?
Yes. 8, Javonte Williams. Another tough
Good one
to evaluate because he's got a great quarterback and 2 great wide receivers. But
having
Matt,
a great year.
He's 5th in the league in rushing. He's on that short list of guys averaging 5 yards per carry or more. 8 touchdowns this year already out of the backfield. And if you kind of look at a lot of the people in front of him, he's got 20 carries less than Cook and Taylor and some of these guys.
Because they throw a lot.
And so he's another one, like he's the opposite of Bijan.
Right.
You know, like what if you put him in the Falcons offense and Bijan in the Cowboys offense? What would that look like?
No question.
But when you're top 5 in rushing, when you're on the short list of guys that are over 5 yards per carry, when you've got 8 touchdowns already, too, I got Javonte Williams at number 8.
I understand it. He's Najee's class. And so there was a lot of back and forth. Should the Steelers have just waited a little bit, taking a guy like him? ATN was in that class too, but he wasn't the big Steeler back. You know, Dale and I, when we did all our draft prep, was like, Najee be fine, but I might rather wait until the early second for Javonte. And before his latest injury, which was a really, really bad one, like 2 years ago, I thought he was one of the best young backs in the league and one of the hardest to tackle. I mean, he's a tackle breaker by trade, going back to North Carolina. This is a first year. I thought he might be done. You know, this is a first year where I'm like, okay, and now I remember that guy.
Yeah, he's looking like his old self.
Looking like, like the medical rebound is in effect. And Dallas is, I mean, that's a really underrated pickup they got for like league minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a pretty good job with the running back evaluations there in Dallas. I'll give them credit for that. Number 9,
Dowdell, too. I mean, they let him walk, actually, but he was good for the Cowboys, but Carolina got him at a discount, too.
Yes, they did. That was another thing. TV and I were kicking around putting together this list. 9, Derrick Henry. 10, Kyron Williams.
Okay. Kyron Williams is the type of guy that just, if he was a Steeler, everybody would love him. Every coaching staff going back to Notre Dame loves him. Team captain, sticks his face in the fan over and over. You know, great in protection. He's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. Produces
top 10
over and
top
over.
10 in the league in rushing yards right now and has the fewest amount of carries of anybody in the top 10.
That doesn't shock me.
Knows for the end zone as well, too. 6 touchdowns already, averaging over 75 rushing yards per game. It's like I said, it's tough. And then my honorable mentions, I had Saquon next, and I had Breece Hall.
I'd say, like,
I also put if he wasn't on IR, J.K. Dobbins would probably be in this this list.
He's just always hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see what if Breece Hall was with the Cowboys. Yeah, right, or the Chiefs or something. I mean, he'd be lighting it up. There's some other names, like, it's a little early, but I think Judkins is super impressive.
He was considered.
Okay. I mean, he has nothing around him.
Travis Etienne was considered.
He's had a real good year. Genty, I still think, is going to be a great player, but he's a little disappointing, but it's mostly his surroundings killing him. I'm a big Kenneth Walker fan, but he splits too much time. I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, just throwing out names if there's anyone else that's worth talking about. Kind of drying up here pretty quick, though. Josh Jacobs.
So he was one that we kind of kicked around. He's interesting because his yards per carry is way low, just 3.8, but he's got the 11 touchdowns. He's good in those red zone, goal to go situations.
And he was really, really good last year. Like, I can't feel like, he just all of a sudden forgot how to play.
Kind of like a Saquon.
Yeah. It's kind of him, Saquon, and Henry are all similar.
If you're doing this kind of Madden style rankings, where they really give you a lot of credit for what you've done in your career.
Yeah.
Those guys, I mean, Saquon and Jacobs would be top 5.
Yeah, they'd be in that neighborhood, and Henry too.
Henry's
inability to catch the ball is a problem. I mean,
it is, but when I started looking at the numbers, because I told you I hadn't done a ton of that.
Yeah.
And he's 6th in the league in rushing, like averaging 4.9 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns. I didn't think that he was producing like that. He's still over 80 yards a game average on the ground. I know he gives you nothing out of the backfield.
I know. I mean, there's just a lot of plays that he's on the sideline when they're clearly throwing, which is why I give like McCaffrey maybe a little more boost, or Saquon. It's a good list.
I think, Matt, if we did this exercise again 365 days from now, the two Ohio State rookies, Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson,
could be in the mix.
Will be in the mix.
Marion Hampton could be in the mix.
Marion Hampton could be in the mix.
You would hope Genty's in the mix of the young guys.
He better be. Good Lord.
Your boy Love at Notre Dame might be in the list. Right.
Jeremiah Love, how you doing? He looked pretty good in an NFL stadium this past weekend.
Yeah, he sure did.
We'll be talking about him plenty when we do our NFL draft prep. That's it for Best of the West. A couple tweets and newsworthy items that I want to hit on here with Matt to close down the first hour of the show. Hour number 2, around campus, our buddy Chris Halicke, some of Matt's stats. Plenty more to get to as we roll along here on The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Down the home stretch here of the first hour of the program, and Matt, you tweeted out something that is a little startling.
It's nuts, yeah.
A little jarring.
Right.
It is nuts. The Cleveland Browns, since they were reborn as the Cleveland Browns in 1999, will have their 42nd different starting quarterback since the franchise returned to the NFL.
Right.
Shedeur Sanders will get his first start.
Yes, that's been announced today. Right.
This weekend, officially official. You can stamp it, you can bookmark it, and that squealing noise you hear in the background is everyone from ESPN and Fox Sports and all the national TV shows giddy with excitement that the content gods just dropped this on their lap.
So he got in the game last week. He didn't start.
Indeed.
Yeah.
This will be his first start. Second appearance, first start in the National Football League. These are the quarterbacks, that's also important to note, that have started a game for the Browns,
It's a long list, folks.
Like, not just gotten in.
Right.
Started a game.
Right. Yeah, hang
41 other names.
And the guys, the two dudes at the top, it's not that many.
Tim Couch and Baker Mayfield tied at the top for 59.
Yeah. So, again, I spent a year with the Browns. I was with the Jeff Garcia era. We'll get to him at some point. But I will say a lot of the people in that organization and a lot of people around the league at that time really thought Tim Couch could have been awesome, but just went to like the worst expansion team ever. And it's like Carr's older brother, right?
It was just like David Carr.
David Carr, like I said, no
when
chance.
He went to Houston.
So
he got sacked 40 times a year, no chance.
I mean, like that's their first pick as an expansion draft, but it's like this dumped them in the worst nest of all time,
And this is a total aside, but I always laugh in every sport, but especially physical contact sports, football, chief most amongst them. I think hockey is in this conversation too. When people are like, "Oh, just throw them out there. They'll learn on the job. Just throw them out there." You can shatter somebody's confidence young, and their body and their confidence, and
people in the organization like, oh yeah, we ruined him.
Yeah,
they flat out told me that.
It's a little different than like, let's put this 19-year-old basketball player out there and maybe he gets dunked on and misses a few shots.
Yeah. Or this left fielder or this pitcher,
gets struck out or makes an error or something.
Send them back down the minors and learn how to hit a curveball.
Yeah, there's no minors in the NFL either. Like you can absolutely ruin guys too early. So 59 for both of those guys, Matt, which is not a very high number.
No, right.
As
first
you mentioned.
overall picks.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find what's the number here. Let's see. It's lower than I thought. Mason Rudolph has started 18 games in his NFL career. I thought that was going to be higher because I was going to use that as a reference point, but that was lower than I thought it was going to be.
From what I remember, those two are pretty high. Clearly the top two.
Then Derek Anderson, Colt McCoy, Brandon Weeden. That's the list, though, of guys that have started 20 or more games. So a little bit more than one season.
Yeah.
Even there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have started 20 or more games.
That's crazy.
Charlie Fry, then Deshaun Watson.
I was with Akron with Charlie.
That's right.
And then we drafted him when I was with the Browns the next year. And I vouched for him like big time as for his character, leadership, all that stuff, which I had no problem with at all. He's an awesome dude. But I was part of the reason that he got in that mix.
Him and Deshaun Watson at 19. Who would have thought Deshaun Watson, when they traded all that for him and everything, would have only started 19 games for the Cleveland Browns?
I mean,
over
that's
all
the
these
biggest
years.
mistake of all of them, but there's a lot of mistakes on this list.
TV and I were laughing because it's become a sexy radio topic in the last couple days of, is the George Pickens trade the worst trade of all time? It's not even in the same stratosphere as the Deshaun Watson trade.
It's not even close.
It's not even close.
No.
Brian Hoyer, Deshaun Kaiser, Kelly Holcomb, Brady Quinn, Trent Dilfer, Josh McCown, Jacoby Brissett, Jeff Garcia. Those are all the ones with double-digit starts.
Wow, okay.
Flacco
Garcia was our
has
starter
9.
when I was there, yeah.
So Flacco was close. He had 9.
9.
Cody Kessler. Doug Peterson, Super Bowl champion, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Dougie P. That's hilarious. I forgot that he started a handful of games for the Browns. Jason Campbell, Johnny Manziel, Seneca Wallace, Jameis Winston, Dylan Gabriel has 6. DTR has 5. Robert Griffin III has 5.
Jeez.
Jake Delhomme, Luke McCown, Tyrod Taylor, Ken Dorsey, PJ Walker, Austin Davis, Ty Detmer, Case Keenum, Kevin Hogan, Bailey Zappi, Spurgeon Wynn. Who the heck is that? Jeff Driscoll, Thad Lewis, Nick Mullins, Connor Shaw, Bruce Gradkowski, and Sunday afternoon, Shedeur Sanders.
Crazy, isn't it? I mean, what an unbelievably long list.
Wild.
Yeah.
And that's not since the 70s, since the 80s.
No, right. This is 25 years.
1999, that's basically the 21st century.
Yeah, right. I mean,
that's wild.
Like the Steelers list would have a duck in there here and there. Or, I mean, there's a guy that even the Packers, during the Rodgers era, not during the Favre era because he never missed ever. But I'm thinking about like the most stable organizations. Mm-hmm. Okay, your guy gets hurt.
And 6 Justin Fields in there for the Steelers.
Yeah.
4 Ducks or whatever it was.
Yeah. Or, Rodgers misses a day and the backup that no one's really heard about ends up on the list like once every 3 years or something, But like many of those names were, we got our guy, that's our answer. A lot of them were big investments, including like Brandon Weeden.
First-round pick. A lot of first-round picks on that list. A lot of
first-round picks on that list. Manziel.
The Deshaun Watson one is obviously a black mark for different reasons, but I think the biggest one is Baker Mayfield. I mean, because
he's good now.
You just messed that up.
I mean, he's the only one on the list that's good now.
That's the worst trade in NFL history.
Right.
That's one of the worst trades in sports history. That's worse than like the Red Sox letting Babe Ruth go to the Yankees for a bag of peanuts and a leather glove. Matt,
but it's amazing you're that bad at that position for that long.
Insane. And again,
and just
when you've invested a lot of capital there as well.
And there's probably more to come.
We got a couple tweets from people today. I'm sure you saw Brandon Cooks released by the Saints.
Oh, yeah.
If we'd have any, before we got like 2 minutes here till we got to go to break. Just wanted to make sure to get that in at some point today. Any interest in Brandon Cooks for the Steelers? A couple people tweeting
I'm sure
that.
They released him to kind of do him a favor, like the Titans did with Lockett. Like, hey, you don't have much time left. Maybe you can latch onto a winner. We want to play some young dudes. Probably not, but I'd have to watch him specifically more. I have not done that.
If you didn't already kind of throw a similar type of MVS into the fold,
he's also on the small side. MVS is at least bigger. Maybe. It's a pretty desperate move, though. I mean, he's going to latch on somewhere like Lockett did, with the Raiders.
I wouldn't be against it, but I wouldn't be banging down the door for it.
No, right. Like, I don't think it changes your outcome, or gets you any more wins or losses, or,
It's not moving the Vegas the Vegas needle on division odds.
Could be in the mix,
odds
but nah.
Now, if all of a sudden, that's me knocking on wood, you had an injury happen at wide receiver, different conversation. But for where you're at right now with a similar type of, career arc, although to be fair, I think Brandon Cooks has probably had a better career. But
he's had a good career.
You have MVS in the fold. You just added I know it's a completely different position on another side of the ball, but like, you don't want to do just a constant carousel practice squad thing. You did just add MVS.
Right.
You did just add Asante Samuel Jr.
Duggar, you're not grabbing every veteran.
Did you see they added John Reese Plumlee back in the practice squad this week?
Today, yeah.
Is that your Caleb Williams scout team guy there?
Okay, I hadn't thought of that, but that's
he can run around and it has that athleticism trait for sure.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Hour in the books, another hour to go. When we return on the other side, we will lead off hour number 2 with our buddy Chris Halicke. We'll talk to him about all this practice squad stuff, all the latest moving and shaking, what he thinks about Aaron Rodgers' status for Sunday, all of that and more with Chris when we return to kick off hour number 2. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, halfway home on the drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here on the drive on the Steelers Audio Network. And joining us now, as he's kind enough to do just about every single Wednesday here on the program, it is our buddy Chris Halicke, of course, covers the Steelers for DK Pittsburgh Sports. Chris, thank you for taking the time as always. Let's jump right into it today. I know it is only Wednesday and the next 2 days are going to be important, but if you had to make a guess right now, yes or no, Aaron Rodgers plays on Sunday in Chicago?
It's really, really difficult. I would still lean no. It's going to be Mason, but I know that Aaron really, really wants to play, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's a competitor. You don't play for this long and be as successful as he is without being the ultra competitor. I mean, he hasn't taken a practice off all season long until today, and that's only because of the injury. So we remember when Ben was older, he would, get his vet day. Rodgers has not gotten a vet day. But when you look at all the variables that stand in the way when it comes to, can he take a snap from under center? Can he take a snap out of the shotgun? Can he hand the ball off? Can he protect himself if he falls to the ground and the natural reflex comes where you're falling and you put your hands out? Is he going to injure it more? All of these variables are going the way. I don't know if I've seen enough to be like, yep, I really think Aaron's going to play, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor. So maybe they figure it out. I don't know. But I also know that there's a lot of faith in Mason Rudolph, not just from Aaron himself, but from Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin. And where if they feel like Aaron's going to be in significant danger to re-injure, or not to re-injure it, but to make it worse, then they'll ride with Mason.
So how do you think the game planning and structure of the offense changes if it is Rudolph? Like, I'm sure that they're looking at it at this part of the week. They're installing things. There's a lot already in the playbook, but they're going to attack. The Bears obviously different with a different quarterback. Would you think more play action, more middle of the field throwing? I mean, what do you think the difference would be?
Well, Mason was asked about that today after practice, and he doesn't think that it would be all that different if it were, him or Aaron. Of course, there are going to be certain plays in the playbook, or I shouldn't say in the playbook, but in the game plan, because Arthur Smith will set the game plan. We need to attack the Bears and he'll list out all the different ways and how they're going to attack them, either on the ground or through the air. And then throughout that game plan, there will be certain concepts or whatever that maybe Mason prefers over Aaron, but sometimes, and Mason said, there is overlap. There are certain plays where they both like them. So I don't think it'll be all that different based off of what Mason said after practice. But, it was pretty – I think we might over-romanticize what ended up happening, because in the first half, the Steelers scored 10 points. Like, second half, the offense scored 10 points. Like, it was the same output. It looked different. Sure, it looked a little different, but it was still the same output. And that's ultimately what the goal is to score points. And they scored the same number of points. So I don't think it'd be like the offense is going to be completely different or anything like that, whether it's Aaron or Mason.
Chris, what is your confidence level in the Steelers' defense right now? It's something Matt and I talked about a little bit on Monday, I believe it was, but it feels like they are rounding into form at the right time. They have been up and down throughout the course of the season, but it seems that they've stabilized a little bit, much better on a down basis, still getting the splash once again with 2 massive defensive touchdowns, obviously, on Sunday. Are they playing as well as they have at any point this season?
Well, there was a 3-week stretch early in the season in which the defense was playing at a level. I mean, I think I even sent the graphic to Matt at one point and was like, dude, they're like over these 3 weeks, like one of the best defenses, or at least one of the most efficient defenses in the NFL, like in terms of like EPA and everything like that. And then the Bengals game happened, like the Week 7 Bengals game happened,
Right.
And then the Packers game happened, and so we're here right now. It's been a 3-week period where you look at the EPA numbers over the last 3 weeks. They're, I think, 6th in total EPA, and they're 2nd in drop tag EPA over the past 3 weeks. So, yeah, they've been playing a lot better. And over the last 3 weeks, they have been one of the better defenses. But they're about to face an offense that ranks in the top 5, both in total offense and in rushing. So it's going to be a challenge. You know, this is not going to be easy, but I will say that the way that they're playing and against higher quality opponents and offenses in general, I mean, holding that Bengals offense to 12 points is pretty impressive. So, yeah, I think the defense is probably playing at its best that we've seen this season, and I would be a little bit more confident going into this game as opposed to like when the wheels fell off in Cincinnati back in Week 7.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pass defense, and I think they're doing a much better job of marrying the pass rush to coverages. We've seen some personnel changes. You know, Ramsey's now a full-time safety. We've seen a lot more too high. We've seen more a different usage of coverages out there. Do you think these are things that are here to stay? I mean, you think we're going to see cover 4, cover 6? You know, like, what do you nerd out with me a little bit here on the schematics with the coverage stuff?
Well, I mean, so it's funny because when they were playing the Chargers, they went back to really, really high single high, back to really, really high blitz rate. So what they've been doing really is they've been kind of throwing different things out there every week. Obviously against the Colts and then this past week against the Bengals, it was a lot of too high. This past week, it was more too high than we've seen all season long in one game. The shift from, I mean, their man coverage in the Week 7 loss was 34.6%, according to fantasypoints.com, which was like right at their season average. And this past week, it was at less than 9% in terms of man coverage. It was a massive drop. They went to almost completely zone coverage in this game. A lot of cover 2, a healthy dose of both cover 4 and cover 6. I mean, but again, when they played the Chargers, though, and I think people will misremember the Chargers game, the defense actually played really well in that game.
Yeah.
They just got completely gassed out because the offense just did not hold on to the ball, didn't do anything. But they ran with a lot of single high and blitz that are at a high rate in that game. So I think the thing now that they're showing is that now offenses don't know what to expect, and they don't know how exactly to game plan. That's actually a really, really good thing to do because you're versatile enough to be able to attack an offense, whether you're running out of too high and playing a lot of cover 2, cover 4, or you can run out of single high and run a lot more cover 1. And but even then, when they ran cover 1 this past week, when they didn't do it very often, when they ran it, we finally saw a hold defender in the middle of the field. We hadn't seen that before. You know, it's just been cover 1, it's man free, and everybody's blitzing who's not covering, who's not having to cover somebody. That wasn't the case. The Duggar interception, he came down from a too high look and robbed the middle of the field, and Flacco threw it right to him. So, you know, that's something we didn't see before. So the fact that we're starting to see a wide variation of schematics and coverages against different offenses, it's kind of hard to predict what they're going to do against the Bears.
Chris, last one I've got for you, buddy. It's been pretty quiet on the Asante Samuel Jr. front this week. It's been 14 months, right, Matt, since he played a regular season NFL game. So I think it's fair to expect him to need some time to get up to speed. Do you think we could see him activated at all this week, or does that still feel like just a practice squad role for Asante Samuel Jr.?
I feel like right now it's still the practice squad role. I mean, they're right now what they have to do is they have to get Darius Slay back into the fold and then figure out how they're going to divvy up the snaps between Slay and James Pierre, because while Mike Tomlin said on Tuesday that Slay would go back and be the starter, I'm not exactly convinced that that means that Slay is really going to be, carrying the workload there because
interesting.
Well, I mean, we'll think about it this way. Calvin Austin was named as a starter for the offense. Like, he came out in the introductions this past week. Who played more snaps on Sunday? Was it Roman Wilson or was it Calvin Austin?
True.
Right.
It was Roman Wilson by a mile.
Well said.
Roman Wilson played way more snaps than Calvin. So it could be a situation in which, yes, Slay is the starter, but who ends up playing more snaps at the end of the game? And with the way James Pierre is playing, personally, I don't know how you just put that on the bench. I
think he's playing better than anything Slay has done in a Steeler uniform.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But just because you and I agree on that doesn't mean that's
a thing,
what Mike Tomlin and TA are going to think. But at the same time, I also don't think that they're seeing that and they're like, yeah, we're going to put that on the sideline either. So I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that. I think that's probably the bigger story in the secondary right now, as opposed to getting Asante Samuel, because like you said, like he's still coming back from this. This is his first real football action that he's seeing with a team. He's learning the defense. I understand, like, Kyle Duggar came in and hit the ground running, like, pretty much right away. But that's just because Kyle Duggar did it doesn't mean that Asante Samuel's going to do it or any other defender can do it. That's not an easy thing to do. So I right now I'd be kind of shocked if Samuel just all of a sudden became like got activated or got elevated and just started playing snaps, especially when you consider Slay's coming back, Pierre's playing at a really high level, Porter's playing at a really high level, Eccles is playing at a good level too. So I don't think they necessarily need to rush him in, especially whenever they're at least getting another guy back.
And he doesn't have special teams value.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think he'd run down on a punt or kick and get a tackle in that way and, knock some of the rest.
Yeah, I don't think coming off of what he's coming off of, they're going to ask him to go with a whole bunch of defensive snaps and then, we need you on special teams too, especially whenever you consider that, they have a number of guys who can probably play special teams that aren't playing as much special teams like James Pierre. Like, is he playing as much special teams with him playing pretty much all but one snap or two snaps this past Sunday? So it's kind of funny how it's playing out right now.
Yeah, it is.
Always great stuff with our buddy Chris Halicke. And, starting Sunday afternoon in Chicago, we'll begin to get the answer to some of these questions. Chris, great stuff as always, buddy. Thank you for the time, and we'll talk soon. All
right, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
As always, dude, there he goes. Chris Halicke, great stuff from him. Great point on the secondary there. 9% of the time, man coverage against the Bengals. Look at him pulling out the numbers, baby. I love it. And you saw that change, have plenty of success, and yield a great day for the Steelers defense on Sunday. Another tall task, of course, against Caleb Williams and these Chicago Bears this coming weekend. Matt, we'll finish talking more about the Bears specifically, but when we return on the other side, you know what time it is?
Yeah, let's do it.
Time to go around campus. You ready, Bluto, over there? All right. You ready? Rodney Dangerfield can't get no respect. We'll go back to school around campus. Talk about some of these college quarterbacks on the other side when we do our weekly collegiate check-in here on The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. It's time to go around campus here on The Drive, Matt. Week 13 edition, the penultimate week of the college football regular season. This weekend and then, next weekend, the weekend after Thanksgiving, which is always one of the best weekends of college football. That's Saturday after Thanksgiving. That's kind of rivalry weekend across college football.
That's like Ohio State, Michigan.
And Auburn, Alabama, and all these great rivalries. That's used to be when the backyard brawl was, and I'm confident one day it'll get back there when Pitt and WVU are inevitably in the same conference again at some point. But beggars can't be choosers. I'll take it on the schedule. But yes, it was much better when it was Thanksgiving night or Black Friday night or sometime that weekend. But yeah, week 13 of 14 here in college football. Then obviously it'll be conference championship weekend. Navy and Army coming up as well too. And then before you know it, I mean, about a month from now, the playoff will be beginning in college football. And so really coming down the home stretch here as the picture gets, I think, clearer and clearer, Matt, amongst a bunch of these names here on this sheet. So let's jump into it as we always do. I'll go through some of the names here, and then I'll give you some matchups to watch this weekend if you are so inclined. Matt, deservedly so, still lean this thing off. Fernando Mendoza, of course, quarterback at Indiana. He had been quiet the last couple weeks. Not bad, but not lighting the world on fire, but he was outstanding.
I don't think his stock was dropping before this weekend.
Yes, it wasn't like
maintaining.
Yeah. He wasn't lighting the world on fire, but, you know, like against Penn State, he wasn't great, but he made a lot of plays down the stretch for them to win that game. But I tell you what, he looked like the dude this weekend. They dominated Wisconsin 31-7, completed 92% of his passes, 299 yards, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. Tight window throws all over the middle of the field, which you love to see. He's got 30 passing touchdowns this season. He's easily we could talk about Ty Simpson and we could talk about Dante Moore and Lenore Sellers and some of these other guys. I think if you don't have him as QB1 right now, I think you're projecting and reaching a little too much.
Yeah, like it's pretty cut and dry eval, it seems like.
Especially because
he's also 6'5".
We'll get to him in a second, but Ty Simpson had a bad day this past Saturday against Oklahoma. So it had kind of become the sexy thing for a lot of people to have Ty Simpson as the first quarterback off the board. I don't know, Matt. I mean, he's got 10 starts in his life, and 8 of them are really good, and 2 of them are really bad. There's not a lot of middle ground there. But Mendoza, he's 6'5", like you said. He is, I think, in what has been a underwhelming quarterback class overall from what we thought it was going to be coming into this year.
Right.
He's been the one that is consistently arrow pointed up.
Yeah, like he hasn't faltered or
And is QB1. If we want to talk about how does he compare to the Joe Burrows and the Trevor Lawrences and the Andrew Lucks and the people Cam Wards and all those things, that's a different conversation, but he is QB1 right now. Ty Simpson, the Bama quarterback, who was the other guy in this conversation, shaky performance. He looked bad for the first time this year since they lost week 1 at Florida State. I mean, on paper, hey, 66%, 67% completion percentage, 326 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, not terrible. But Matt, he had 2 turnovers, the interception and a fumble. The interception was a pick 6 by Oklahoma. The fumble was a field goal by Oklahoma. He put them in a 10-0 hole early, and they were never really able to claw out of it. I give Oklahoma a ton of credit. Their defense is great.
So they played hard, yeah.
But there's no reason Alabama should have lost that game other than 2 bad Ty Simpson turnovers. They also had a chip shot miss field goal by their kicker, which plays into it as well. I should mention that. But he just never looked settled. He looked shaky. The 2 turnovers. And what was a costly loss for Alabama at home for the first time all season, and really since week 1 when he was only partially on the radar, I would have the stock down for him for the first time this year.
Totally get it.
Not crushing him for it, but he struggled on Saturday. It was a shaky performance.
So leading into this Oklahoma game, it seemed more and more, this stuff I've read, heard, etc., that no, he'll be in this draft. And I never quite understood that because, he's got a lot of buzz at that point and he's playing great and blah, blah, blah. But I can't believe it should be a foregone conclusion that he's definitely going to be in this draft with the little experience he's had.
For most of these guys, I don't think it should be a foregone conclusion. But again, I still think right now, if he declared if the draft was coming up and the combine and all that stuff and he declared today, I still think he'd be a top 10 pick on every mock draft. So that's tough to turn down if you're a kid. And I certainly still think that there's a good chance that he comes out and goes in the top 10. But what if he looks shaky again?
Oh, he's got some big games coming up that could be.
The SEC has their kind of joke week before the final week of the season. This is something the SEC gets crushed for every year, but they're all playing like the Citadel and Western Kentucky and Florida.
Okay.
So I forget who Alabama plays, but it's someone they
doesn't
should
matter, yeah.
demolish. But then they have to
and
go.
then he's got the Auburn.
Then they have to go Then they have to go to Iron Bowl to Auburn for the Iron Bowl, which is always a little bit of a challenge. And Auburn's been up and down, and they fired their coach, but they've got a good defense. But what if he doesn't light the world on fire against Auburn? What if?
Oh yeah.
What if they don't make the
playoffs and all that
or
kind
they
of stuff
do,
too? Right,
but he struggles? Things could still change. But Ty Simpson, like I said, for the first time all year, the stock dropped a little bit on Saturday.
Okay.
Dante Moore took care of business against Minnesota, big time, 42-13. Kind of similar to Mendoza. After a couple subpar outings, he bounced back and really looked the part. Over 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was accurate, Matt. Completed 90% of his pass. He's got the athleticism.
Oh, yeah.
He still has some issues sometimes, with missing some guys, but I think that's to be expected. He's another one who's still
he's a neat little time.
Yeah, he's like 20 years old still and is a true third-year, guy. He, to me, kind of defines the sitting on the fence of would probably, in all likelihood, be a first-round pick if he went pro.
I would be shocked if he didn't go in the first round.
Yes,
right.
But could make a lot of money coming back at Oregon and could potentially win a national championship next year because I know I've mentioned this to you before. Oregon's good now. They're like 6th or 7th in the country.
But they have a chance to be great next year,
They're like the youngest team in the top 10, and they have a chance to be great
and
next year.
And they have money, and they'll keep all those dudes.
And I think Phil Knight is – how do I put this without being callous, Matt? I think Phil Knight is pushing all his chips into the center of the table for Oregon football while he's in his 80s and might be on the back 9 of his.
Yeah, right.
I'm not trying to be callous and saying that,
but that's
Phil
the way it
Knight's
works, right?
In his 80s, he's older.
Last chance to get national champion. You're right.
He's going all in, and so that'll be a very interesting one to evaluate. But for both Mendoza and Dante Moore, I thought you were kind of waiting the last couple weeks to see another one of those vintage performance from those two.
And you got it.
And you got it from both of them.
Okay.
Lenora Sellers, Matt, he showed some life for the first time in a while, but it was also kind of a tale of two halves. So South Carolina and Sellers looked outstanding in the first half in Texas A&M, in College Station, at A&M, one of the toughest environments in the country. You've talked about that before. The number 3 team in the country on the road. They were up 30-3 at halftime.
I know. It's a crazy game.
And Sellers looked like the destroyer of all worlds, and South Carolina looked like the team that people thought they were going to be in the preseason. They ended up giving up 28 unanswered points in the second half to lose 31-30. The largest comeback, as someone posted this, it was the largest comeback in SEC conference play since like 1948.
Really?
So I'm not saying that was all on Sellers. It's not like he fell apart in the second half.
He wasn't throwing pick sixes left and right, or
turned the ball over like crazy. But Texas A&M made some adjustments at halftime. They slowed down the South Carolina offense. They figured it out on defense. It was one of those, like, I still would say stock up for Sellers after that performance.
I would think.
But I would have loved to see him, Matt, just will his team down the field once for 1 second half score to win that game. But that's picking hairs.
His ability
Splitting
and
hairs.
skills are still so evident, though. Yeah, right.
He's one of the, like, if Dante, let's hypothetical, Dante Moore goes pro. Mm-hmm. He goes, guys, I love my time here. I'd love to come back and win a national championship.
But I'm too good to pass.
But I'm going to go in the top 10 of the draft. I'm going. I'd love to see Sellers wind up at a place like Oregon.
Oh, man. Like, would he be the Heisman favorite?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Yes. Without a doubt.
Over, like, Arch.
I mean, Arch would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
Julian Sayin from Ohio State, that quarterback's going to be in the conversation. Absolutely. But he
the receiver from Ohio State.
The receiver, Jeremiah Smith as well, too. Absolutely. But Sellers is perhaps the most intriguing case for me because we know the raw talent. It's undeniable. But he's been fine this year, not outstanding. His team's been really bad. His coach could get fired. What's the future look like for him?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you watch those first 30 minutes.
Every time I watch him, I'm like, boy, I'd love to get my hands on that guy.
And perhaps the toughest environment, one of the great home field advantages in college football on the road against the number 3 team in the country. I mean, he really looked the part for most of that game, but they just couldn't hold on against an A&M team that feels legit. He
might not have an easy decision coming up here.
He might not. And sticking with that game, I'm gonna. Where's my Where's my page here? I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, Matt, because we actually got a tweet from a Truth2321 who said, Wes, can you give me this was yesterday, said, can you give me your thoughts on Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed? Can we get your thoughts on him tomorrow? You sure can.
Absolutely.
He was the other part of that duel with Sellers. I've mentioned his name a couple times
It's
this
come
year,
up,
Matt.
but I don't know a ton about him, right?
First time he's been on the packet. Do you want the good or you want the bad?
Well, it's two different halves, right?
That, but just in general, to me, picture Bryce Young.
Okay.
I don't know if you could see that on the list. Now, he's taller than Bryce Young. He's 6'1".
I say, but
185 pounds.
That worries that.
And now Bryce Young's like 5'10", 185.
Right.
But he's 6'1", 185. Really bad in the first half. 6 of 19, 2 interceptions. But, tale of two halves type thing. 16 of 20, nearly 300 yards, 3 touchdowns after halftime. Tied for the SEC lead with 22 touchdown passes. His arm strength worries me a little bit. But he is just crazy athletic, Matt.
Yeah.
And
that's why they're third in the country. Yeah.
Feels like one of those guys who still has a ton of juice to squeeze. Like if you got him in an offense with, and I know they're not going this route, but like a Ben Johnson type, a Kyle Shanahan type, a Sean. Oh my goodness! If the Rams could draft him and have him sit behind Stafford for a year and let McVay coach him up. Lot to like about his game. I don't love his sleight of frame.
Yeah, that worries the heck out of me.
And I wish he had a little more arm strength, but there's a lot to like there with Marcel Reed as well, too. He rightfully so is one of these guys who's bursting on the scene. Only his third year, so he could certainly come back. But he, I think, now will be heavy in these conversations when we get to combine season and all of that.
I didn't know he was in the draft mix.
So, what's funny is I did not either. I had to go back and look. I thought he was like Julian Sayin from Ohio State. I thought he still had another year, but he redshirted, and then this is 2 years. So he's been on campus for 3 years, basically, and that's the line of demarcation.
But it's coming up more and more that, maybe he'll dip his toe. Yeah.
Maybe. Jada Miava, USC.
Yes.
I tell you what, against a really good Iowa defense, he put up 254 yards passing, which doesn't sound like lighting the world on fire, but that's the second most that Iowa has given up.
That's a successul day.
A successful day. Top 10 nationally in passer efficiency, passing yards, and yards per completion. Like he's got that.
He's had a good year.
He's got that Lincoln Riley tutelage about him.
Yeah.
Like he's just smart with the football. He looks like a Lincoln Riley quarterback, comfortable, knows what he's being asked to do.
But he's got a lot of ability, too.
Ton of ability.
Yeah.
Matt, big one this weekend. This will be on my list of games to watch at 3:30, where USC travels to Oregon. Top 15 matchup.
Oh.
Miava against Moore. That's maybe the one game on Saturday, if I could only watch one, that I would.
Especially for quarterbacks.
Especially.
That's
2 top 15 teams, two quarterbacks that could be first-round picks. That's a good one, and obviously very important for the Big Ten conversation and playoff race as well. Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss. This guy is a fun watch, Matt. He's got some limitations, but 6 times in 9 starts this year, he's gone for over 300 yards passing. He could do it with his legs. If he wouldn't have, not gotten into the fold for Ole Miss until I think week 3, I think he would be in the Heisman conversation as well, too. Ole Miss is ranked 5th or 6th in the country right now. You and I have talked a little bit about some of the Lane Kiffin offense stuff and how there's some quirky collegiate elements of that offense that don't necessarily translate to the National Football League, but kind of similar to Jackson Dart. He's a guy who can do it with his arm, could do it with his leg in that Ole Miss offense. I think limitations, but really fun to watch, and there's a lot to be intrigued by there.
Okay. Do you think he'll declare?
I think that depends on what Lane Kiffin does.
Okay. There's a good chance he's not back.
There's a good chance he could end up at LSU or Florida. I know some people have even mentioned him in an NFL job. That would shock me because, again, I just don't think his offense translates to the NFL game. But if there's been a lot of smoke this week about Lane Kiffin potentially going to LSU or potentially going to Florida, now they're saying if Alabama misses the playoff for the second straight year, they'll fire Kalen DeBoer, the Alabama coach, after just 2 years, and they would maybe go after Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
Apparently, Ole Miss has been trying to get him to sign a contract extension, and he's been dragging his feet, waiting on somebody.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world.
There's some smoke around this situation, too. he's one that I would
he's
definitely
even mentioned with the Giants, which makes no sense to me. But
makes no sense to me. Him at the NFL level, I think he's a great college football coach.
Seems that way.
I would not want him at the NFL level because I don't think his offense translates. But Trinidad Chambliss, kind of similar to Norris Sellers, another one of those. If they come back for another year, and depending on what happens with their program and their head coach, would be very interesting where they could end up.
You would say Sellers is more gifted, though.
Yes.
I mean, Sellers might be more gifted than all these guys. Right?
Yes, and he's got more of the, Chambliss is not slight of frame, but he's 6'1", 200 pounds, where Sellers is 6'3",
or something.
230, 240.
Yeah.
But he's another one of those. Say Lane Kiffin goes to Florida or LSU, maybe he goes with him.
I thought you were going to say, well, I'll just go to the pros.
Maybe.
Either or. Yeah.
And say Lane Kiffin goes to Alabama and Ty Simpson goes to the pros.
Sure.
Maybe Chambliss follows him to Tuscaloosa. A lot to watch there in the next couple months as well. Hayes King, Georgia Tech, that school in the Oakland district of Pittsburgh, heads to Atlanta to take on Hayes King. And I put this in the packet, Matt. I'm very excited to see how Hayes King produces against that Narduzzi Pitt style of man-to-man defense that we talk about all the time, because Hayes King has been a stat stuffer like you wouldn't believe. Leads the country in yards per game. Over 340 yards from the line of scrimmage per game for him. Does it with his arm, does it with his legs. Threw for over 370 yards and ran for over 50 yards last week as Georgia Tech came from behind to beat Boston College. He's been ACC quarterback of the week 5 times. He's going to be 25 in January. I mean, he's older. This is his 6th year of college football, but he's doing something that you want to see a grown man do at that level.
Right.
I've mentioned this to you. Georgia Tech has a chance to win the ACC and go to the playoff. I think they might have a losing record without him. I mean, that's how valuable and important he is.
Like, I want to see him at the Senior Bowl.
I want to see him against this Narduzzi defense. And then, yes, I am kind of selfishly rooting for Georgia Tech to make the playoff because I want to see him against some real high-level competition.
I mean, they could easily be one and done in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
But still, you'd have one more test, one more data point.
Like Pitt's not out of it, SMU's not out of it, Virginia's not out of it, but I think in all likelihood, it's probably going to be Georgia Tech or Miami, if I'm remembering correctly. That's the ACC playoff representative.
Okay.
I know Carson Beck is. I'd much rather see Hayes King get that opportunity.
Sure.
But he's got a big challenge against Pitt in that defense this weekend. I think especially, a Pitt team that's gonna, be looking to wipe that Notre Dame embarrassment. Get some mouthwash. The pistachio theory, right, Matt? That we share. Excited to watch Hayes King this weekend.
No, I'm all for it.
Carson Beck, I'll go with him. Another, remember, since that terrible performance against SMU, where he then threw his coach and his offensive coordinator under the bus in the postgame, he's been really good in their last 2 games. Dominated Syracuse, dominated NC State, 78% completion, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. But I'm still out on him, Matt. I just don't believe in the leadership and the maturity. He's got all kinds of talent.
He's an average athlete, though, right?
Average athlete. Yeah. But he's got the 6'4" body type. And I mean,
but you see why he was a top recruit and all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if he ended up getting to the NFL and maturing and figuring it out, it wouldn't shock me. But I'm not using a first-round pick on this guy.
No, I get it.
John Mateer, of course, led the Sooners to a big victory against Alabama on the road. But, Matt, he was just okay. He kind of did the game manager thing a little bit. 138 yards.
Still seems like he's working his way back.
He's the one for me. I give him a lot of credit because
he's toughing it out.
Oklahoma's had maybe the toughest schedule in the league, in the country, and they're 8-2. They're in line for a college football playoff bid. They just went to Alabama and won. They've got Missouri and LSU, 2 tough ones to close down the year. Big games ahead that I'm hoping he kind of finds his form. But he's one that I'm really interested when we get to Senior Bowl season and Combine season, what the medical stuff on him is.
I bet there's stuff.
I don't think he has looked like he did the first few weeks of the season, but I also know he's got a big hand injury to his throwing hand. I'm willing to give him some benefit of the doubt.
And is he running as much? Is he as reckless as he was?
I wouldn't say as much, but he's still using his legs.
Okay.
He
has to.
He's finding ways to help that team to victory. Oklahoma's got a really good defense, and they're leaning on that defense, and he's making just enough plays.
I'm sure all the leadership, toughness, all that stuff is.
They rave about him in Sooner circles. And so, again, he's one that is real interesting to me, when we get to that.
I bet scouts have a lot of
of
questions, though, too.
Yes.
Yeah, they need the answer.
The health and all that stuff. A couple more here to touch on. Garrett Nussmeier. Matt, we might have seen the last of him in terms of his college career. He didn't play this past Saturday in LSU's win over Arkansas. He's out with an abdominal injury. He's listed as doubtful for this weekend. We might have seen the last of him.
I wonder, just with his pedigree, and we knew a lot about him before this season, if he never plays another snap in college level, goes to the pros, does somebody get somewhat of a discount on him?
Yeah.
And ends up having, I remember that guy from 2 years ago. I'm not saying that should be the Steeler route.
He could still be a late day 2 pick.
Yeah.
A Dylan Gabriel type 3rd round pick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was, amongst the leaders in that clubhouse when the season started. Him and Aller and Klubnik and Arch. And none of those guys have really lived up to it. I give Aller at least a little benefit of the doubt because he got hurt earlier in the year.
His fault, but still.
Cade Klubnik, another one. Clemson beat Louisville in a nail biter, 20-19. He was okay, 187 yards, no touchdowns, no turnovers. He's a game manager. Klubnik.
Yeah, he seems okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a day 2 or day 3 pick. He will absolutely get drafted. He, I think, could be one of these guys that gets into camp and people think that there's some juice to squeeze there. But he's had a rough year. Clemson's had a rough year. But like I said, I'm not completely out on him. I just don't think he's a first-round pick, but will definitely get drafted.
Crazy. Okay.
Sam Levitt, Arizona State, he's hurt and out for the year as well, too. He's another one, Matt, when this time rolls around. Is he going to go pro? Is he going to transfer?
Not much to go off of this year,
Not
right?
much to go off of this year. He was outstanding last year. Not much to go off this year. His coach, Kenny Dillingham, has been mentioned in some circles for some of these big jobs. He's also been mentioned out there in Arizona as a potential Arizona Cardinals head coach if they move on from Gannon. So Sam Levitt, one to watch, one to circle. Sawyer Robinson, the Baylor quarterback, they fell to Utah 55-28, not really close. But, man, he continues to put up massive numbers, 430 yards and 3 touchdowns. Over 3,200 yards passing this season, 29 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions. He produces like crazy. He's 6'4", 220. Like
he's intriguing to
He's
me.
got the frame. Like I told you, I
can see his buzz picking up after the season.
His offensive coordinator, Jake Spavital, no name that's going to just completely blow your hair back, but he's had like 6 or 7 different quarterbacks that he's coached in his career that have been drafted.
Okay.
Geno Smith and Will Greer and Davis Webb and Johnny Manziel and no one that's blowing your Kyle Allen, and so Sawyer Robinson I think is one of those guys who Baylor's struggled this year. I think his stock will rise when we get into
the postseason
time play. Taylon Green's another one of these hard to evaluate guys. The Arkansas quarterback really struggled in their loss to LSU, just 11 of 19, 2 interceptions. He's got traits like crazy. He's 6'6". He's got a rocket arm. He's an athlete. But he is in such a bad situation, like worse situation than Sellers,
Yeah.
Like it's just hard
It's hopeless.
Arkansas fired their coach like a month into the season, and they're playing in the SEC against great competition every week.
And every week it goes poorly.
And every week he looks like he's trying to put the team on his back and, do so much. Intrigued by him. He's one of these guys, like if you tell me right now the Steelers draft him in the 3rd round, I'd be all for it.
And just learned.
Yep, sits behind Aaron Rodgers or somebody for a year if they end up going that route.
Could he be Bama's next quarterback?
Absolutely.
Okay, he could be
And again, I never know how these guys feel about transferring in conference.
I'm just saying, or whatever.
But
could he go to a big school and
100%.
Yeah.
Virginia, James Franklin and Virginia Tech,
right,
or somebody like that.
I'm sure a lot of teams would be really interested.
Does Dante Moore go pro and he ends up at Oregon? Does Mateer go pro and he ends up at Oklahoma? Maybe, certainly. I do believe it's his 5th year in college, but I think he still has one more year of eligibility because he started at Boise State, I believe, with a red shirt. So he should have one more year. Brendan Sorsby, we've talked a little about him, the Cincinnati quarterback. He's struggled in back-to-back games after really looking good in the middle portion of the season, threw 2 interceptions in their loss to Arizona. He's got arm talent, man, and it flashes. But overall, in the last 2 games, I think his production's really dropped. He's a candidate, I would say, to return to Cincinnati or
maybe he upgrades too. Yeah.
As much as I hate saying that too, because I'm I'm a fan of one of these programs that gets plucked from.
I know. I hate that we have to have that conversation.
I hate
all the
it
time,
too,
right.
but he's to me a real candidate to return to school. But he also
his stock's not going crazy.
No, it's down these last couple weeks. But you know what? They play number 11 BYU this week. He's still got some opportunities. Cincinnati's still I think they're like 7-3, so they've still got a lot to play for down the stretch here. But his stock has dropped a little bit. Matt, a couple games to keep an eye on as we wrap this thing up. Week 13, of course, it is the SEC dead week, but I give Missouri and Oklahoma credit for saying no to that utter nonsense.
Oh, that's cool.
Number 22, Missouri in Oklahoma to take on number 8. Remember Bo Pribula. He's the kid from York, Pennsylvania, who was at Penn State, transferred because he was going to sit behind Drew Aller. He's an interesting one for me for next year. He'll be in this conversation, I think, with the Julian Sayans and some of these guys next year.
Name to know.
Mateer against a good Missouri defense. That game's at noon. The one to watch this weekend, like I mentioned,
yeah, clearly
top 15, big one in the Big Ten between two old Pac-12 rivals, USC and Miava in Eugene to take on Oregon and Dante Moore. That's at 3:30. Also at 3:30, Arkansas and Taylon Green go to Texas. Arch Manning's been a little bit better.
It sounds like he's been noticeably better. Yeah,
was okay against Georgia this past week. Didn't kind of, again, you want to see these guys like will the team to victory.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm willing to put Arch back in this conversation. I definitely think he's going to be back in college football next year.
It sure sounds like it, yeah.
Still a fun quarterback to watch from this perspective.
Oh, no doubt.
That's at 3:30. And then, of course, that school in Oakland goes to Atlanta to take on Georgia Tech and Marcus King at 7 p.m.,
Mm-hmm.
And then another guy that we haven't talked about, Matt, because he's only a true freshman. He's not going to factor into this conversation for at least 2 more years. But Bear Bachmeier, true freshman.
I don't know them. Yeah.
True freshman quarterback at BYU. BYU's number 11 in the country. They go to Cincinnati for a night game. Nip at night. That's what they call it. Nippert Stadium is Cincinnati's.
Okay.
They call it the Nip at Night to play off of Nick at Night for all you Nickelodeon kids out there. So you've got Bear Brockmeyer, who 2 years from now I think could be a highly touted. He's one of the best freshman quarterback in the country. 11 BYU at Cincinnati against Sorsby in a big one for both of those teams. BYU looking to stay in the playoff hunt. Cincinnati could potentially work their way into a Big 12 championship game if they beat BYU and have a couple things fall their way. So those are the games that I'm watching this weekend.
Good stuff. I got one quick question. I've been meaning to ask you for this for weeks because the Riola kid at Nebraska, what's his story?
Dylan Riola. I believe he would be draft eligible. I think this is his 3rd year. Matt,
because he has not popped up on lists. I assumed he was not eligible.
I think he's still 1 more year away. Let's see
I
here.
think you're
it
right.
Looks like he's a true sophomore.
He's not like hurt for the year or anything. I mean,
he's a true sophomore, so he's still a year away.
Okay.
He's an intriguing one. He was a crazy, highly touted recruit.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
He's had some really good in his career.
Is his dad the center?
His dad played in the National Football League.
Yeah, his dad was a center at Nebraska, a really good player.
Yes.
I think he won like the Remington.
Wasn't he there with like Eric Couch, and those guys?
Yeah.
Not Tim Couch,
Eric Couch,
the
athlete,
Heisman Trophy winner.
He ended up being a safety.
And you know what? He's one of those guys that has a ton of talent. Been waiting for him to take off, though.
Okay.
Like Matt Rule got out there, and you thought, Matt Rule is coaching the
Perfect
NFL,
for him, right.
all these places. He's been all right, but hasn't lit the world on fire.
Okay.
He has been okay in big games.
But we'll be talking about him in the offseason.
We'll talk about
him.
We'll talk about him next year, definitely. You want something funny, though, actually, bringing this full circle. He's got a younger brother who's a top quarterback recruit.
I saw his
and
brother
his
in the
brother
news. That's
just decommitted from Nebraska.
That's why he was on my noodle. I saw the headline.
Maybe he's like, I don't want to follow in Big Bro's footsteps. Have you seen the Dylan Riola stuff, though, with the Patrick Mahomes obsession?
No, is he?
Oddly obsessed with Mahomes.
Okay.
Wears the same number as him, 15. Has the same haircut and the same facial hair. That Patrick Mahomes goofy hair and goatee. And he does the same Patrick Mahomes, like when he runs down into the end zone and flex. Like people make fun of him because, like, dude, like get your own thing. Like, you're trying so hard to be Patrick Mahomes.
But his own thing is clearly like he doesn't even hide it.
Same number, same haircut, same pregame routine. Doesn't even hide it. So I don't know. Part of me thinks it's kind of cool that he's that much like I respect this guy. The other part of me is like it's kind of corny. Get your own thing here. But he's a name too that will be in these future conversations as we're doing this in years to come. Certainly. Matt, one more quick segment to go. We're going to pick a player on the other side from the Chicago Bears and get up out of here.
we got an injury report, too.
Ooh, okay. A couple quickies before we get out of here. Some important stuff to get to. All that and more as we wrap this up on The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Just a couple minutes left here on The Drive as we close this thing down. We do have the Steelers' latest Wednesday practice report across the timeline. Matt, before we do that, you've got some news, though, on some other big-name quarterbacks in the AFC North.
Yeah, again, Lamar not practicing on Wednesday.
Second straight week.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's not quite himself, not quite running as much, the knee. But the big news is Burrow listed as a full participant. I'm sure he's chomping to get back at it.
Has to be.
I would
but I might
love to shut him down if I were them, but that's not how Burrow operates.
No, it's not.
I think we're going to see him this year, whether it's this week or not.
Exactly right. And
he had targeted Thanksgiving.
I don't love that. I mean, it's good that you're past Cincinnati. I
mean, maybe he can help you beat the Ravens, but help the Steelers. But point. I mean, like,
good point.
I don't know. I just worry about the kid's health.
Yeah.
You know,
I appreciate the competitive spirit, but it's like they're not going anywhere, and that offensive line is not great. And
quarterback hasn't been the problem. I mean, doesn't make defense any better.
Correct. Matt, Steelers practice report here on a Wednesday as we wrap this thing up. No surprise here. Mike Tomlin said it would be the case, but Aaron Rodgers did not practice today with that left wrist injury. Yeah. Darius Slay.
There's some talk that Rodgers might practice tomorrow, though.
We will be waiting to see.
Yeah,
Start tomorrow is when you really want to see. Darius Slay, full participant with that concussion.
Okay.
Seems like,
good.
Barring something popping up, he's green-lit for this weekend. Jaylen Warren did not practice with that ankle. Also, I don't think a lot of a shock
on a Wednesday, I didn't expect him to.
Give him some extra time. Cole Holcomb, for the first time in weeks here, back to a full practice participant. Love to see that.
The illness is finally gone.
Love to see that. Isaac Seumalo did not practice with that pec. I don't think that's surprising on a Wednesday.
No, not for him.
Isaac Seumalo limited today with his pec injury that's still lingering a little bit.
Who? You said Seumalo twice.
Sorry, Highsmith was first. He did not practice today.
Highsmith didn't practice.
With the pec.
Gotcha.
Seumalo limited today with the pec.
Okay. I would assume Seumalo will play, but again.
I think so.
But it's especially
with his being limited today and not a DNP. Jonnu, TJ, and Cam all given a rest day. And then Keyshawn Williams limited with concussion. That is your injury report.
Not a lot to take away from that. I wouldn't say any of that is unexpected.
One notable thing here as we wrap this up. One name that you will notice that's not on that list is Corey Trice Jr. Just minutes ago, according to our buddy Chris Adamski, his activation window has expired and he will be out for the season. According
knew that was coming.
According to friend of the show, Chris Adamski, Wednesday today at 4:00 was his cutoff point, and so that means he is out for the year, unfortunately. And I guess him not being on the practice report would back that up.
Rarely do these windows open and they get shut again, but he got hurt in practice again. He's only practiced once since Latrobe, and he got hurt in that practice.
It is such a bummer, but it's also just hard to ignore at this point.
Right.
And just unfortunately, he just can't stay healthy, and it stinks for him. It stinks for the team.
I mean, I assume he'll be in minicamp and all those things next year, but I don't know that you can count on him as a piece of the team.
It's a good way to put it. If he ends up surprising us all and being a bonus next year, great. But I think you're right. When you're going forward, when you're plotting this thing out, when you're talking about priorities and, drawing
off-season needs and things like that.
Drawing up the blueprint for 2026, I would be hard-pressed to consider him.
You just got to put him on the side, and if you get something out of him, great. That's a bummer.
That is a bummer. Bummer news to end today's show on, but I had fun today, Matt. Good show, a lot of good stuff, good conversation with our buddy Chris Halicke.
A lot more Bears stuff tomorrow.
A lot more. We are going to deep dive into Matt's stats tomorrow. We'll catch up with Bob Labriola, get his thoughts on LC Greenwood's Hall of Fame candidacy. We'll get into some of your tweets tomorrow. We will do our Chicago Bears pick a player tomorrow as well. But that'll do it for us today. Thanks to Chris Halicke for joining us. Thanks to our video producer and resident statistician, Tyler V, Mr. TV. And, of course, a big shout-out to Matt Williamson, as always. I'm Wes Uhler. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow. You know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.